Could Donald Trump's latest comments be the most significant recalibration of U.S. foreign policy toward Asia in generations? He's openly suggested that a multi-billion-dollar arms sale to Taiwan isn't a matter of strategic necessity, but rather a bargaining chip to be wielded in negotiations with China. This isn't just a rhetorical flourish, it's a move that has Taiwan's president pushing back and reigniting a fierce debate in Washington about the future of American commitments in one of the world's most volatile regions. Before we dive deeper into this developing story, if you want to stay on top of everything happening in U.S. politics, hit that subscribe button right now and leave a like. It really helps this channel grow and ensures you don't miss out on critical updates like this one. So, what exactly did President Trump say that has everyone talking? Speaking to Fox News, he confirmed that a nearly $14 billion weapons package for Taiwan, already delayed, is being held in abeyance. His reasoning? It's a very good negotiating chip for us, frankly. It's a lot of weapons. This is a stark departure from the long-standing, if sometimes subtly shifting, U.S. policy toward Taiwan. For decades, the U.S. has maintained a posture of strategic ambiguity, meaning support for Taiwan's self-defense while avoiding an explicit commitment to intervene militarily if China attacks. The goal was to deter Beijing without provoking it, and to avoid giving Taipei a blank check that might encourage aggression. Taiwan's President Lai Ching-te wasted no time responding, calling U.S. arms sales the most vital deterrent to regional conflict and adamantly stating that Taiwan shall never be sacrificed or traded away. This direct pushback from Taipei underscores the deep concern that Trump's transactional approach could fundamentally undermine Taiwan's security and the broader stability of the Indo-Pacific. The context here is crucial. This $14 billion package was approved in principle back in late 2025, and its continued holdup under Trump fuels debate about whether he's steering U.S. policy back toward the traditional ambiguity or recasting it through a more openly transactional lens, directly tied to negotiations with Beijing. Remember, China considers Taiwan a renegade province and has vowed to reclaim it, by force if necessary. They've promised countermeasures to U.S. arms sales to Taiwan, and the issue was a major flashpoint during Trump's recent summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping. She reportedly warned Trump that Taiwan is the most important issue in U.S.-China relations and mishandling it could lead to clashes and even conflicts. Now, the White House itself hasn't commented immediately, leaving a vacuum for interpretation. But the differing reactions among foreign policy analysts highlight the stakes. Some, often described as China hawks, are sounding the alarm. They warn that treating Taiwan arms sales as negotiable weakens deterrence and could unsettle U.S. allies across the Indo-Pacific who rely on American credibility. Retired Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery, for instance, called it a strategic blunder of historic proportions and warned that failing to proceed with the sale would jeopardize U.S.-Taiwan relations and weaken U.S. credibility globally. Others, however, see Trump's remarks as a return to a more authentic form of strategic ambiguity, a corrective to what they view as the Biden administration's lurch toward strategic clarity. Bonnie Glaser, a leading expert on the region, argued that Trump's comments blur a vital distinction. Strategic ambiguity has nothing to do with providing arms to Taiwan, she stated. The Taiwan Relations Act requires that the United States sell defensive arms to Taiwan. No president has ever said that U.S. arms sales to Taiwan are a useful bargaining chip. Lyle Goldstein, director at Defense Priorities, offered a different perspective, suggesting Trump is shaking up the Taiwan debate and returning U.S. policy to a more restrained strategic ambiguity. He contrasts this with what he calls the Biden administration's lurching dangerously toward strategic clarity that threatened to spark a near-term U.S.-China war. Goldstein points out that during his presidency, Joe Biden repeatedly suggested the U.S. would defend Taiwan, comments critics argued heightened tensions. Goldstein believes Trump's willingness to discuss arms sales openly in negotiations reflects a more restrained approach aimed at preserving stability. He even suggests Trump sternly admonished the leadership in Taipei for unnecessary risk-taking. It's true that Trump has long taken a more transactional approach to Taiwan. He previously argued the island should pay for its own defense and has focused heavily on the semiconductor industry, pushing for the U.S. to reclaim chip manufacturing. Goldstein believes Trump's approach recognizes that Taiwan is not a vital U.S. national security interest and that the U.S.-China relationship far outweighs the U.S.-Taiwan relationship in importance. This brings us to the central question: will Trump's rhetoric translate into actual policy changes regarding the pending arms package and, by extension, the future of U.S. commitments to Taiwan? Many analysts see this as a critical test of how an administration under Trump would approach the island. It's a delicate balancing act between deterring China and avoiding direct conflict, a balance that the strategic ambiguity doctrine was designed to maintain, but which Trump seems willing to test with a decidedly more transactional playbook. So, what do you think about this? Is President Trump right to use Taiwan as a bargaining chip to potentially de-escalate broader tensions with China? Or is this a dangerous gamble that betrays a key ally and undermines American credibility? Drop your opinion in the comments below. I read every single one. The future of U.S.-Taiwan relations, and indeed the stability of the Indo-Pacific, hangs in the balance as these complex negotiations unfold. This is a story we'll be following closely.